Okay, we're up and running. Morning, right? It's not.
Cool by now.
I love people Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll get started with our special meeting. This is a meeting to discuss our health insurance that Roosevelt County provides. There will be no motions, no decisions at this meeting. This is strictly an informative, informal meeting. Answer some questions people have, and maybe we'll talk about the thought process we're going through as commissioners on our health insurance plans. Maybe to get started, Roosevelt County's always had a premium health insurance plan. You're not changing the benefits for the plan whatsoever. Vision, dental have even improved in this plan. Like I say, it is the premium health insurance plan. Basically, what we're going to be talking about today is there's three options that are always been available to everybody, and how the county pays for those. We want to talk about, maybe have some options. So on your screen, if you're on Zoom, there's probably people on Zoom, and people in the office have a printout. We have three plans here. The first plan is a $500 deductible. That is currently what we're on. It's a $500 deductible. And that is an 80-20 with $1,000 out of pocket. So you have the first $500 you pay as a deductible. And then as you get more bills in, insurance pays 80% of those bills after that 500, and individual pays 20 up to the total of $1,000 out of the pocket. Is that correct, Gary?
That is correct.
Okay, and that plan, we were paying 100% of that for all 110 employees for Roosevelt County. That's $1,406.78. There was a 9% increase in this plan, so the new renewal for that is $1,533.84 starting July 1. And then the next plan, which is a $1,000 deductible, which has always been available, and then that's an 80-20 up to $2,000 out of pocket. So the individual pays the first $1,000, and then after that, the bills are split 80-20 till there's a $2,000 out of pocket. That renewal is going to be $1,286, and that one there you can do a flex plan on, which some people have done. They've used the flex plan on that $1,000 deductible when the county was paying $1,400. They do a flex plan on it, so that money would be available to pay for medical bills within the flex plan. The flex plans, at the end of the year, you use it or lose it. So that always has to be a zero balance at the end of every year. And then the third plan is high deductible plan. That's going to renew at $878.55. That one you can do a health savings plan on. So you actually go down to the bank and start a health plan with a checkings account. And you can use that money. That money can build up. You never lose it. And then you can spend that money for medical bills. Thing with that one is prescriptions are only paid for preventive or for prescriptions that are used for preventative. It's not, then you have to pay the prescriptions. So the prescription on that's a little different. And that's a $2,000 out of pocket with $3,500 total cap. And if you have a family in there, it's a little different. So it depends on your situation to how that all works out for a medical plan for the C plan. And vision, the dental is included in all our plans. So what we're kind of thinking is, I guess the next page, if you go to the next page, we'll show maybe how we got to this point. And Gary from JPT brought this to our attention that basically JPT is losing, I mean, they're paying 160 per, where was that at, Mary?
Or 62%.
That's as of July to June, but at any rate, the insurance company's paying out more than they're getting in from Roosevelt County, but that's the beauty of a pool. We're in a pool, so we're able to keep the costs down a little bit if you call that keeping the cost down, but JPT we are spending more than we're giving them, which we've had some pretty big claims over the past couple of years. And since 2017, the average increase for the insurance has been 5.48%. So our insurance has been climbing about 6% per year. And if anything goes up 7% per year for 10 years, it doubles in price. If you have something going up 7% per year and it costs you $5 for year one, it's going to cost you $10 a year of 10 years. And that's the way percents work. 7% doubles in 10 years. So our insurance every 10 years has been doubling. This will be my 10th year, and that's pretty much we were at about $800-900 when we started, and now we're at 15. So that's it's doing that. So we have progressive mills that taxpayers pay for this, but about 4 or 5 years ago we stopped. We didn't increase the progressive mills. We left them on the table. We just kept them the same way they were, and the budget started paying the balance. So progressive bills are available, and they do pay for the insurance for county employees. But again, it's all paid for by taxpayers. Either it's a progressive bill or a property tax, one or the other. And with us having oil money, that's what's really kept us. We've never had to really do too much on this. So I guess that explains the plans. Where we go in the future, we'll talk about more. But is there any questions where we're at right now? And
This question mark, they don't know.
any questions online? It's an open forum. We want questions, and we'll feed off of the questions. Are there any questions in the room?
Do we have any statistics that tell us how many people are taking advantage of the vision plan?
How many people use the vision?
Yeah.
Nothing in our stats. It's all, that vision is all factored into your original plan. You're wondering, like, I think I get where you're coming. If we cut the vision, can we cut the healthcare? Is that what we're kind of looking?
It seems to me like there are, most people don't even know they have a vision.
Sure.
And they don't, and
Well, it should.
I understand that, but, it takes a lot of paperwork to get your vision benefits, so most people just don't do anything about it.
I just got new glasses. There was absolutely nothing to it.
Yeah.
You handed them the card. Me and my wife cost us $2,000 total. They paid $1,000. We paid $1,000. That was contacts, glasses for her, glasses for me, and it was no paperwork whatsoever. It was giving them the card. It vision and Wilson. Really. I mean, we just did it last week. Just got. Our vision is excellent. In our dental, we do cleanings twice a year, and it's all taken care of. So it's premium plans.
The vision is if we are in an area that's not, doesn't have a vision provider service.
Yeah, this is in Williston.
Yeah, so you do have to go through a lot of extra paperwork to get the
Reimbursed.
reimbursement. And I've talked to people that work for the county and they're not even aware of it. So
It's something we can
nobody's
definitely
taking
advertise.
advantage. Very few people are taking advantage of it, so maybe it's something to consider. That's what why I brought it up.
I think, and I doctor in town. And I think instead of going through the paperwork, they just knock off a flat X amount because you have it. It's like, we don't honor the program, or we're not affiliated with the program, but since you have medical insurance, vision, we'll just knock off, $150 or $200. It's not to the benefit that if I was to go to a different healthcare facility, but I know Colstead Eye Clinic used to do that for me. They would just knock a flat X amount off. I guess I couldn't ask you anymore. I can't see without my glasses, so I don't argue with them too much. But it's a good point. I think part of this meeting is to inform the employees of what your benefits are. It's a pretty good package. that the county, that is a benefit to the employees of the county. I think last year was about $8, with the increase, it's gonna go up to just about $9 an hour, to utilize those options that are there. And what it does provide. I don't know that a person probably really wants to entertain singling out the vision or the dental or anything like that. Just, it's a minimal expense onto the health insurance plan. And just like with anything, I mean, you buy it, and Gary's the prime one that said that when you got here, health insurance is to be used. You don't have insurance, so you don't use it. Obviously, the more claims that come in does affect the premiums a little bit, but it is there for all the employees.
And now I guess where are some options to go from here? Well, the first option would be to continue paying the 15.33.48 per employee. And second option would be moving up to the $1,000 deductible. And instead of having the $500 deductible, which is, we've talked to counties and we couldn't find any that have the 500 anymore. Most all are 1,000 or 2,000. But 1,000 is highest that I would like to see us go would be that. So we pay the $1,286.15, and we continue on that way and see where premiums go. And then a third option is coming up with like a stipend, and we just pay the stipend, and then the employee chooses the plan they want, and we go from there. If we do the stipend, it's going to change. Everybody's going to have to fill out a new card. It's going to be a lot of paperwork to do it that way. But it'll just be the initial stuff. Everybody would have to have some responsibility in getting a new card filled out, choosing what plan they have, and if it's A or B, then they got a savings plan they'll be set up with, and if it's option C, then you got a health savings that you'd have to go to the bank and get set up. So it'd be some extra work on that stipend if we go that way. But there, I think that's, and we'd like to hear more options if somebody has some other options or ideas.
And I'm just going to say too, for those of you that are on Zoom, if you don't want to chime in or unmute yourself, you can certainly use the comments tab if you'd like to type a comment in there or have a question.
Chat box.
And then there you go, chat box. There is that opportunity. And as Gordon said, this is the opportunity to ask a question, voice your opinion. You know, the $500 deductible is great, but so is the $1,000 deductible. You know, with that $1,000 deductible, you can flex that money over there. You just have to use it by the end of the year. But it does give the employees some pretty good health savings on your premium, $200 a month. Health savings on that, or the major medical. I guess for me sitting here is, I would like to see comments, questions, input as to your feelings of the policies. I don't think, as Gordon said, and I think even in the world as a whole, and maybe Gary can elaborate on this, I don't think there are many $500 deductibles with $1,000 out of pocket left offered. And I might be wrong. How many places still have that $500,000 deductible?
To my knowledge, one.
So, I mean, it's pretty rare to,
Yeah, it's really rare.
to still have that.
I can
option.
only think of one other group.
I would almost bet that one will go away this year too.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it just stands to reason when these plans were created many years ago. a $500 deductible at that time was considered a relatively high deductible because there were plans in good old days with actually Blue Cross Blue Shield had a plan with no deductible. But all benefits were paid right out of the chute. Everything was paid. Well, that soon went away. Then you started with a $50 deductible, and that soon became a $100 deductible. You know how that story goes. And the reason for the increase in the deductibles and shifting some of the more of the risk to the plan member with out-of-pocket expenses is because the cost of medical care is increasing every year. So they call it inflation in the medical industry, and it's been double digit ever since I've been doing this, which is like 30 years.
The $50 office visit's no longer.
No, exactly. So what you used to get for $50, now you pay $300 for it. And so thus, either that increased cost is reflected in either the premium or by reducing the benefits in the plan and raising the deductibles and raising the out-of-pocket. And we're all faced with this. Anybody who is on a health plan of one kind or another, that's just the way it is.
This is Julie, or I'm under Alyssa right now. I don't mean to sound stupid, but what are we trying to decide?
Really, we're trying to decide if we should continue paying 1533 and letting it ride like that. That's gonna cost taxpayers $2 million to do. Or we
Okay.
reduce it to 1286 and go to $1.6 million. Or if we do like a stipend of like $1,500 for the next 2 years, and then you pick your plan and you'd end up paying either you'd pay the $33 if we went $1,500 for option A, or you would get a $213 savings flex plan if you do option B, or you get a $631 HSA and or flex if you do option 3.
But that has, excuse me, Julie, but that has restrictions on prescriptions, is that correct?
Option B has a lot of restrictions, yeah. And they pay, it's $3,000 out of pocket. If you have a family, it's how does that work?
It's the third option. The big advantage is it allows you to open a health savings account. So pay for your medical expenses with pre-tax dollars. So if you're on option 3, you can go to a local bank, open a special checking account. It's called a health savings account. Excuse me. And any money that flows through that account is not taxable. So that's the big incentive or the big savings. The benefits are not similar at all to option number 1 or option number 2. The biggest difference is the way the deductible is computed if you have a family member on the plan with you. Basically, in a nutshell, if you have a family member on the plan with you, you're considered to you have to satisfy the family deductible before any benefits are paid for anybody. So that's a drawback or a hindrance because that's not the way the deductible is computed on either of the other 2 plans. Another big difference is the way prescription drugs are paid. So in most cases, prescription drugs are not eligible for payment with that third option until you've satisfied your deductible. There's an exception to that, and that is if you're filling a prescription that's considered a preventive drug, like let's say you're taking a med for high blood pressure, that'd be considered a preventive drug. In a case like that, you will get reimbursed either in part or in full before meeting the deductible because it's preventive drug. Basically, those are the two big differences between the third option and option number 1 and number 2.
So just a quick question.
Yes,
Who considers it a preventative drug or not?
the federal government, believe it or not.
You have a list of the drugs.
Yeah, there's a whole list, and I'm gonna guess there's probably there's well over 100 drugs on this list. So it's surprising how many drugs would fall into that category, the preventive category. So in many cases, the meds would be eligible for payment before the deductible is met. If it's not on the preventive list, then you'd have to wait until the deductible is met before the plan would contribute or pay any part of the prescription drug.
Yeah, because I'm on like 6 different prescriptions, which I've been on for a long time for epilepsy.
Okay,
So, yeah, and currently they're all paid
sure.
because they're all generic. So I
Sure.
don't have to pay anything for my
Sure.
prescriptions now. I don't really want to see that change. But
Then
Option 1, option 2, it would.
yeah,
Yeah,
Option
right.
3 might.
then that might be a good reason to stay on either option number 1 or number 2. I'll get you a list. I'll provide you with a list of all those meds.
I'd
And you
appreciate
can
that.
take a peek at it
Yeah.
and see if, that'd be the way to go, to see if it'd be eligible under the preventive list.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
And I don't think, and I see Gordon, put it in the chat too, but with the unions, we have the road union and then over at the sheriff's office, so there are some unions. We can't we can't change these plans. We can't do away with one.
Right.
Because of the unions. I mean, it could be the non-unions we could, but not the unions. We like to keep everything as a joint. These 3 plans will still be available for the renewal year. I guess for me sitting here is we keep chasing the premiums going up and up and up. And at what point in time do we have to look at, okay, how much can the county and the taxpayers afford to pay? And how much pressure do we have to put on the employees to offset the difference? That's where I sit. It's like in another 4 years, we're probably gonna be looking at $2,000 premiums. This health insurance is a major benefit to the employees and we want to keep that benefit there, but how do we mitigate some of that as we go forward? Do we entertain putting I guess I'll call it a cap, but it's not the right words. We'll pay X amount and the employee's required to pay the other. For instance, maybe the county says, or we decide, well, $1,500 is where we're comfortable paying. So on option 1, the employee would be required to pay $33.48 for that option 1 coverage. Or you go to option 2 and you don't have to pay anything out of pocket, you just adjust your deductible a little bit. That's where I sit. That's what's rolling around in my mind right now. Currently, I'll tell you, I'm on option 2, is where I'm at right now. I don't plan on, at least for this year, this upcoming year, and that might change with the premiums come up. We might have to look at $1,000 and another deductible, and then the high, maybe change those plans so we're not paying the 500,000, because I think that is, pardon me, but I think that's an outdated plan for the times we live in. And I think it might be time to look at a 1,000, 2,000, and maybe a $3,500 deductible, and then that high, and then that healthcare savings plan, that deductible after that.
yeah.
Plans aren't going to change. It's just we wanted information from you guys on how do you view the insurance, what do you think, benefits, things that aren't working for you, so we can take that information in and hopefully make an educated decision. I know, we're short employees too, and that's always been a benefit to try and get employees having that. I don't know, are people looking at that as a benefit anyway? I certainly look at it as a benefit.
Same.
And
Any other questions online? We thought we'd have all kinds of comments. So if we do a stipend of that $1,500, it's gonna change. People are gonna have to be a little more, we're gonna have to make sure everybody gets signed up. It's gonna be extra work for first recorders, who does a lot of, Tracy, who does a lot of this inputting. And we've said, we asked Lindsay and Sam to help with that if we do it that way, or we don't do the stipend, we just change it that we're gonna pay the option $1,000 deductible, which would be $1,286.15, and then it'll just kind of roll like we always have. I guess that's kind of the options we're debating.
So, am I understanding it correctly? If you do decide, okay, we're gonna go with option 2, the $1,000 deductible for all of our employees, that would affect all non-union employees?
So it's union and not, I didn't like the way Robert explained that.
Okay, that's where,
It makes no difference if you're union or non-union, you get the same insurance, everybody's gonna get the same exact insurance, not any difference.
okay,
It's just, when we have a union contract, we can't change this plan until we're negotiating, and it is a year for negotiating this year. So after we decide what we're gonna do, we're gonna write the union and say, this is what we're gonna do. So that's what they're gonna get, and that's what you guys are gonna get. It's not gonna be no difference between union and non-union.
that.
We just couldn't do this last year because we had a 2-year contract with the unions.
Okay.
And we'll have a 2-year contract after we settle this year. And so we just have to notify the union, this is what we're doing. It'll all be the same. Union won't have any different benefits for health insurance and for the general population. So,
One other question.
Yeah.
If you guys do go to the $1,000 deductible, option 2.
Yep.
The $213 difference for employees can go to flex, but it cannot go to
No,
health savings, correct?
no,
But can a person
No.
still open a health savings?
no, yes, wait, no and yes and all those. If we decide option 2 paying, that's all we're gonna do is, it's just, option 1's still gonna be available. We're just gonna pay $1,286. You'll have to pick up the 213 if you want option A. If you want the $500 deductible, you would have, as an employee, would have to pay that in. If you picked option 2, it would be just like now, you don't pay anything in, you don't get anything. It's just, that's what we pay, is that $1,286. The only way you'll get that $213 to put into a flex plan is if we do a $1,500 stipend. See what I'm saying?
Okay, that's.
And so that's the options that we have. If we either go to a stipend system or we pay the option B amount. And if you want option 3, then you get the flex and the HSA. If you want option 1, you have to pay in to get that. If you're on option 2 as of right now, if you're on option 1 and we're paying the amount and you picked option 2, you had some savings already. A lot of people were using that for their other insurance like Colonial and Aflac. That amount could go for that, or it went into a health flex plan. So option 1 and 2 can have a flex plan. If you right now, you could put your extra money, you could say, I want $200 put in a flex plan every month. You'd be taking out of your pay, put it into a flex plan, and then use that to pay for medical expenses. But you gotta use it at the end of the year. And then you're paying for medical expenses at a pre-tax amount, which is a benefit. So you can start a flex plan anytime. That's always been available for you. But the health savings account that you have at the bank on option 3, you have to be on option 3 to get that. But flex plans available on all 3.
I guess with what Gordon said, option 1, 2, and 3 aren't changing. those three health plans will be available for the upcoming year. What it boils down to is how much is Roosevelt County willing to pay for the health care of its employees? Bottom line. That's what it all boils down to.
To me, right now, the options are $1,286.15 or $1,500 for a 2-year fixed plan. 2-year set amount. It wouldn't change for 2 years. I guess that's the two that I'm debating.
I mean, that's,
Options are all on the table still. It's all just discussion.
those
This is-
are, that's kind of where we're at. Where I'm at is we were paying $1,406 last year. I don't think we can tell you guys we're not gonna pay $1,406 because it'd be like pulling money out of your pocket. I think you've been used to getting that $1,406. Be like me looking at Dave saying, well, you know what, we're on tough times. I'm gonna give you, you're gonna have to give 25 cents an hour back. I don't think we can, I can't do that. You've been getting $1,406.78 towards your health care. I don't think, me personally, I can't ask you guys to go under that. Is do we write an increase up? Or do we hold it the same? Do we say we'll put $1,500? It's Robert's opinion. Do we put $1,500? Do we pay $1,533 and say we're not gonna pay any more? The next renewal, when it comes up, that's gonna be out of pocket for the next 2 years. I think that's where I'm at, is how much money is the county gonna pay towards your health care?
It really we couldn't even do that because if we say we're gonna pay the 1533 this year, next year we're gonna have to pay whatever the increase is. Because you do your contract renewal. So we can't change it next year. We have to
This
keep
is-
that same, we have to pay the 100% for 2 years, which that's an option.
So there's a lot of options.
Go ahead, Julie, go ahead.
So I've had the third option the whole time I've been with the county because I needed to be able to afford to have my family on my insurance. And that third option made that affordable for me since the difference in the 500 premium was applied. Now that I don't have to have my family on there, I have an HSA account.
Just nice to
I-
have.
Yeah. So that was an option that allowed me to have that insurance. Working with helping people sign up for Medicare, I think the stipend idea could be hard to implement. Just if people have to get signed up for that on their own and do all that, there'd have to be somebody dedicated to help them do that. So I see that could be a little chaotic doing it that way with how many employees we have.
That was a concern. We have 110 employees and there'd be these changes. It pretty much be have done every year, the way I understand it, more or less, unless you just kept the same.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't work great at other places. I have no idea. I just could see that maybe being a little bit of an issue. And I mean, I understand that the taxpayers, there's a limit to the amount of money. So, I mean, I'm not going to quit over my health insurance changing a little bit. I'm thankful I have it. Ed is my husband has never worked anywhere where it's been better than this. So that's my thought there.
It's definitely a premium plan, which we're gonna keep the plan. That's not the discussion, so.
Yeah.
It's a great plan. It's a great benefit. It's about an $8.90 benefit per employee. So you're getting $8.90 value per hour.
Yep. But
That's
I
good.
personally understand if the $500 option can't be there, but I've also never used that option. So,
Well, it's always there if we want to pay for it. It's available. No options are going away.
right.
That's why the decision, if we go state just paying option one like we always have, it's a 2-year commitment. We'll have to pay that. Full employee 1533, and it's probably 5% more next year, so it's gonna be 1,610 next year. For 2 years, or we switch it to a stipend, or we switch it to option B. And continue paying 100% option B for the next 2 years for sure. Any other questions before we close?
So your spreadsheet says option one, county pays 1,500 for it. But you just said 1,533.
Well, that's if we do a stipend, it'd be 1,500. If we do like we are currently, it'd be 1,533.
So this 1,500 is the stipend option.
Yep. Yeah, that's the stipend option. That gives you the credits each option. On the spreadsheet. I guess if people have questions or comments, let us know. We'll put this on. I think the next week or the week after, we'll have to see how it works out for when we're having meetings. But it'll be advertised on the next meeting for action. Next meeting or the meeting after, the next week or 2 weeks. See how it goes. See what kind of input we get and questions we have. And Gary from JPT is here. I mean, he'll answer any questions. If you have questions about something, we'll maybe more specific. We don't want to get personal on any of this, but if you have any planned questions, now's a good time to answer. Well, ask him while he's here.
There are a few questions in the chat.
If my math is right, maybe I'm wrong, with that increase, it would cost the county $14,000 a year. My math wrong. No, that's a month. 14,000 a month times 12.
I don't have my 10 key.
I looked at Dave's face like, yeah, your math ain't right, buddy. $167,244 increase in 110 employees.
If we keep it the way it is, and that's going.
And the HSA rolls forward. You can keep the HSA rolls. That's account at the bank that you get either a checking account or a debit card, whatever they give you at the bank. And the flex plan is the one that you have to use by the end of the year. And that would be if you get a flex plan in option 2. You can't get an HSA in option 2. You just get HSA in option 3.
So are you trying to decide if you're gonna do a stipend or do what the chart says?
Yeah,
Is that what the
gonna do
decision is?
we're either gonna do a stipend, we're either gonna pay $1,406, or we're gonna either pay $1,286. We're gonna pay $1,500 or 1,533 or 1,286. I guess that would be the 3 options in my mind, but that's all discussion.
Right, but I mean, is the decision that needs to be made whether the county
One of
guess-
those three.
does the insurance like it has been, or we go to a stipend?
No, like it has been would be the 1,533. That'd be the first thing we could do. Or we could pay 1,286. And then people would either add money or take money away if they go to plan B. Or we get a $1,500 stipend and you decide what you want to do with it. Within these 3 plans.
Okay.
I think that's the 3 options in my mind, but we're not making a decision now, so we got more options to be on the table. Okay, any other questions before we close?
Oh, I just see a chat. Can we have the documents emailed us since I really can't read them now?
Yeah.
We can put those three on.
We can send those out. If you guys have, I guess I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you have questions, comments, you can email them. Or suggestions, sit and think about it. I mean, it is, to me, it's a big decision to be made because ultimately it affects the pocketbooks of 110 employees, no matter what we do. And it also affects the pocketbooks of every taxpayer out there, no matter what we do. So, I think this is that, and that's where we had this just to discuss it, get the wheels turned. If you want to send an email, send us an email. Let us know what your opinions are. It's about all. Now that y'all are confused as I'll get out.
Any other comments, Gary?
No, not really.
I guess with the close, all three plans are still going to be available. Those options are still there. We're not changing any of the plans. It just boils down to the dollar amount.
And things being covered will all be the same.
Yeah.
So
The plan is all the same. And the three options are the same as they've always been. Just the cost went up. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, we'll close the meeting and the discussion is still open. Please give us your input.
if we can answer it, and maybe we can get Gary's email if you got a question, would you be willing to answer some questions?
You bet.
Healthcare plan wise, if you can talk to Gary. I don't know if you got to run to another meeting or not, if you're going to be able to stick around for a little while.
I can stick around for a little while.
Okay.
I gotta be back in Billings at 2:30.
Okay. If you got a quick question for Gary, stop in. He'll be here. Visit with him.
Or give the commissioner's office a call and you can talk to Gary direct. Okay, I close the meeting. I thank you guys for your time.
You bet. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary.
You bet. I'm gonna send that list. I'll just send it to the commissioners.
Okay.
Okay?
That'd be great. Yeah.
And